और पात्री जी का महाराज का कहना था जो हमारा
पुरातन ज्ञान है उसको अंग्रेजी में जो ट्रांसलेट होता है वो मुश्किल से 10 से 20% ज्ञान जा पाता है। जो आदमी भारत के अंदर रहेगा, उस संस्कृति पे रहेगा, उसको ज़्यादा होगा। तो आप क्या समझते हैं कि जो अंग्रेजी में ट्रांसलेट है, जो हम यूरोप से वापस ले रहे हैं संस्कृत को, क्या यहाँ पे अंग्रेजी और संस्कृत साथ साथ नहीं होनी चाहिए कंपलसरी इंडियन एजुकेशन में?
So English to hai, right? Almost. So your focus is on Sanskrit. Yeah. I mean, so compulsory hona chahiye ki nahi? I mean, see, I mean, I would love to have it, but just because I say it, nothing is going to happen. But what we need to do is, Sanskrit just gives you something more. I mean, I started teaching Sanskrit myself. I mean, self-learn, you know, and it really helps me learn other languages better. Like I can speak practical Spanish. Again, a self-taught, you know, and the many words in Spanish, don't ask me right away right now, but many words in Spanish I remember by referring to my mother tongue, which is Marathi or Sanskrit. Same thing with Latin. Now not many people speak Latin, that's the challenge, but I can go to Italy and I can read Latin and understand 30-40%, and that's mostly because of Sanskrit or Marathi connection. So it should be done, but I would say, you know what, I mean, let's fight for it, and if that happens, great. But let's not use that as an excuse not to study Sanskrit or our literature, even with translations. I mean, that will happen, or we should work for it. But let's, even with the translations and even with the little knowledge and Sanskrit dictionaries, we can accomplish a lot.
जो मेरा बोलने का है वो क्या है कि आर्ट वाला
जिसको साइंस में या थोड़ा क्रीमी लेयर में होता है वो संस्कृत छोड़ देता है, क्या उसको भी संस्कृत पढ़ना चाहिए? ये कहने का मतलब
it will always benefit. I mean, it will benefit tremendously. The question is, I mean, again, you are not asking that. The question is, how do we motivate them? Yes. Which means it needs a change of structure, right? Change of mindset. Change of mindset. We think ours is a backward, Sanskrit is a backward. I mean, see, now I'm doing it for what? 2011 first book, so what? 7, 8 years. So now those questions are gone. People don't ask me those questions. But before, not questions, they are characterizing me. Just to give an example, I have given that example before, even possibly with the Srijan talk itself. Is like, you know, my very good friend from Mumbai, you know, like published my first book, and he bought a copy or whatever. He didn't read much, his wife did. But then he called me and he said, hey, so yeah, you wrote on the Mahabharata, and says, is it okay to tell my friends that you are my friend? Like he's worried about identifying with me as a friend. I mean, that kind of inferiority or misunderstanding, misapprehensions we have. So it will take some time.
The dates that we saw for Surya Sindhan, so you reached a date, and there are others who did reach some dates. So are those already in conflict, those dates? So,
the multiple dates I showed? No, they are not conflict. Those are the different times when certain update was made to Surya Siddhanta.
Correct. So जो हमने बात किया था ना, कहा डिस्प्रूव करना तो काम करना पड़ेगा और बाकी सारी चीजों को निगेट करना पड़ेगा. तो अभी 5-6 डेट्स आई हैं, इस पे ही जाके मान लो जो सोलर इक्वेशन से जो डेट आई है उसको हम आपके वाले इक्वेशन चेक कर सकते हैं, राइट? दैट वुड बी इजियर, राइट? 5-6 ही चीजों को चेक करना पड़ेगा, बिकॉज अगर ये 5-6 चीजों में प्रूव हो रहा है, सो ज्यादा फील्ड का नहीं पता ऑब्वियसली, बट जो अंडरलाइंग अजम्पशंस हैं जिनके बेसिस पे डेट्स आई हैं कि 12,000 साल में 22 से 24% डिग्री होता है वाला, वो उन पे भी तो क्वेश्चंस होंगे ना, बिकॉज अगेन दे आर आगम है वो. अगर सो
Adam and Eve Agama. So no, I want to understand. So what could be the question? Like tell me the concern. Yeah,
the question is that जब मैंने कहा ना कि आपने कहा कि अगर इसको निगेट करना होगा तो काम करना पड़ेगा, तो अभी जो 5-6 सेट आए हैं हम उनको तो उस छोटे डेटा सेट को तो लेके कर सकते होंगे ना, कि उन पे उन्हीं सभी इक्वेशंस को लगा के देख लें कितनी पास हो रही है.
No, there are no equations like that, you know. So I mean, you can draw the equations for simulation. See, so the West, for example, I'll tell you my Oxford experience, so you'll realize that. So when I explained this, they did not object to any of this. There is a reason for it. Actually, Professor Subhash Kak was, yesterday we were talking and he happened to mention, you know, I mean, just casual talk. And some few other folks were there. So he said, the West is okay if we say Ayurveda is Indian and mythology is Indian and some Devi worship is Indian. They are okay with that. You know, not always okay, they will twist it. But what they are not willing to give is a science. They think science is their thing. Now this is good and bad. So the good part was at Oxford, because when I presented exactly same presentation, they did not question any of it. They went on a tangent and asking something like a Mahabharata is just a story, it's not a real story. What that has to do with the Surya Siddhanta? But just try to see if they can, the personal ad hominem type of thing. But they did not question that thing, the what I said in the presentation. I'm not saying you are questioning it. The point is, because they are convinced, they are sold on the scientific method, explanation, prediction, testing. It's not that we are not sold, but we think, I mean, not all of us, many think science is Western. In fact, when I will quote from Nyaya Darshana or Yoga Sutra, Pratyaksha Anumana Agama Pramanani Viparyo Mithya Jnanam Atadrupa Pratishtam, so our what you call orthodox, if you want to call them, our orthodox folks object to that. They said, nahi bhai, ye yoga hai, usko science se mat jodo. It is science. And they might have just taken it and put that into a triangle, and now it's the explanation, prediction, testing triangle they are calling it, and we are just, even some orthodox fellow even doesn't want to be identified with. It doesn't matter whether you want to identify with it or not. I'm digressing from what you're saying. So as far as the technical matter goes, I mean, if someone wants to do it, they have an uphill battle. But that's just, this is scratching the surface. I mean, for example, that what Anil Narayanan has done, or my work, it's like, good analogy would be this. Suppose Einstein's theory, that is the latest and greatest. Do you think it's a complete theory? It is not. Einstein knew that, right? So there has to some improvement would come. The improvement will come, meaning Einstein might be falsified, just like Newton was falsified, Kepler was falsified, and so on. Another quick instance, to just through the metaphor. So after I gave this presentation, there was one, everyone knows Wendy Donier, the University of Chicago. I call her intellectual grandchild was there, just who has fresh PhD and now working in this. And he presented on something else. But some people were so shocked. They cannot find any hole in it, but shocked because they cannot accept it. When you said Agama, I thought Adam, that was their problem, So like some people, while asking a question, they were foaming and frothing at the mouth. They couldn't even formulate their question, like literally shaking. I mean, you can understand why, because of this. So this person, he came to me and this is a wonderfully organized conference. They call it coffee conference, meaning a couple of presentations, 20 minutes, and they give 90 minutes to discuss it. I mean, you go cake and coffee and whatever, and you literally discuss it. So after my talk, the whole thing continued for 90 minutes, which is not on a camera or whatever. So this person comes to me very angry, frustrated, shaking and something, and says, because I had said my statement which said what Einstein, Newton, Kepler did to cosmology, I have done it to Mahabharata, Ramayana, something like that. So he said, yeah, you compared yourself with Newton, which I did not, by the way, I was giving a metaphor. But he said, but Newton was wrong. I said, okay, let me respond to that. By the time he just ran out of the room. But I'm not going to let him go. So the next coffee break, I caught him. And I said, okay, I want to give my response to you. So you said Newton was wrong. You are right. You were right about that. But here is the thing. Newton was less wrong than Kepler. And Kepler was less wrong than Copernicus. And that is the journey of science. So what happens is, if somebody wants to do this, in principle, anything can happen. That's the science, the open thing, But it's a very uphill battle. I don't know if I understand. Maybe we'll take it offline.
ये प्रूव करने के लिए और रिसर्च की जरूरत है या ट्रांसलेशन की? जैसे मौसम विज्ञान के ऊपर भद्रबाहु संहिता है, उसका अभी तक कहीं इंडिया में भी यूज नहीं होता, बाहर भी नहीं है,
क्योंकि इतनी बड़ी संहिता है भद्रबाहु संहिता। उससे हम मौसम का एक एक चीज जान सकते हैं, कब बारिश होगी, कब धूप ज्यादा निकलेगा, टेम्परेचर ज्यादा होगा, लेकिन कोई रिसर्च नहीं है। हाँ। तो किसकी कमी, मतलब
किसकी कमी है? Well, just like roti kapda makan, time, resources, money.
नहीं, जो संस्कृत जानता है वो तो गरीब है ना,
मतलब पूजा करने वाला एक पंडित, उससे ज्यादा नहीं है, क्योंकि साइंस वाला भद्रबाहु संहिता पढ़ाई नहीं है। मौसम विज्ञान में जो बैठा है भद्रबाहु संहिता जानता ही नहीं, वो क्या किताब है, क्यों बनी?
See, what it needs is, I have looked at this in some fashion. It's you cannot just read a Samhita because our thing Shabda Praman. I mean, great question. Shabda Jnan, take Gotama, Pratyaksha, Anumana, Upamana, Shabda Pramanani. बहुत सारे बात में हमारे ऐसा लोग सोचते हैं जो आई डोंट वांट टू कॉल देम ऑर्थोडॉक्स बट से संस्कृतिस्ट आई हैव टू यूज सम वर्ड लाइक जस्ट उनका वो है साइंस का नॉलेज नहीं है और ये मेंटल सेटअप नहीं है. सबको नॉलेज होना जरूरी नहीं है बट मेंटल एक्सेप्ट भी तो करना चाहिए ना कोई. हाँ, जैसे कि अभी एक मैं कॉन्फ्रेंस में ये बोला कि वो प्रिसिशन ऑफ इक्विनॉक्सेस और पोल स्टार्स चेंज होते हैं. There were two guys, I mean, they're the swamis of certain sampradaya, but PhDs in a secular world, something like this. They were shattered, like they were doing, I mean, I have a photo, out in Delhi, that was conference with, I mean, they're shaking. You know why they're shaking? I mean, they were foaming and frothing at the mouth. They said, if the pole star changes, तो भागवत का ध्रुव का story को क्या होगा? You understand? So that is a problem. So what happens is, शब्द ज्ञान, meaning आपका जो संहिता आपने बोला, आई थिंक राजस्थान वगैरह में है क्या वो मल्टीपल क्लाउड्स का नेम्स इन
भद्रभाव संहिता संस्कृत का बड़ा ग्रंथ है जो रावण के समय में लिखा गया.
करेक्ट. सो नाउ व्हाट हैपेंस इज, सो you take that word many times, says okay, if it says this then that is it. No, it needs to be evaluated. Like this Gopal Sutariya, if he sees something, he evaluates it. I mean, so शब्द ज्ञान से सिर्फ हमारा नॉलेज चालू हो जाता है. प्रत्यक्ष अनुमान उपमान शब्द प्रमाण, शब्द ज्ञान, पदार्थ स्मरण, शब्द बोध. लाइक पद ज्ञान, यू रीड अ स्टेटमेंट, पद ज्ञान, पदार्थ स्मरण, शब्द बोध. Then there is a whole 11-step process to pratyaksha jnana.
If I may add something, there is a book called Rasayan Ratnakar, and this is somewhere in the Middle Ages. And the author says that I have written whatever I have written based on the knowledge which I received from my predecessors, but I did not include all the knowledge which I received. I included only which I verified personally by my empirical experimentation, that only. So this scientific methodology which you mentioned through Yoga Sutra and through Nyaya and other branches, that was very much part of our. So if coming back to, when the Western would still want to claim science for themselves, actually even that is borrowed in that sense. Unfortunately, there is no problem if anybody borrows it. We disown it is the problem.
Yeah, and so back to his question, like what is stopping us from exploring that wisdom, right? The typical problems, right? See, for example, you'll find, I mean, that you saw what we are good at and what you love. Okay, but see, doing that, which is great, but sometimes the bottom may not be managed. So what people are doing, I mean, I find it, and we find capable ourselves getting the monies through whatever contract work and whatnot, and so that's not an issue. I mean, we don't need money for sustenance. I mean, if it comes, great, we can just focus on this. But it is also a distraction because I mean, while I'm doing this simulation and all this, then I pick the phone and talk with someone for 1 hour, and he says, "Can you show up at 1:30?" Then I leave this. And it's like taking the stone up the hill. So if I leave it, I mean, I'm just telling my limited experience. It's not like you start where you stopped. Like you go backwards. It's starting from this. But many are doing it, and I mean, people say government can do it. But honestly, I'll also tell you, if there's a passion is there, the other. I mean, money. People think immediately money. It's not the money. I mean, money is definitely, but also the genuine researchers or the original researchers, the amount of effort they spend fighting the dogma, like answering the same questions. I mean, the same kind of the dogmatic thing. I mean, I did a Mahabharata workshop in Kochi. The 11 hours of recording is there, and it may come out at some point. But 1 hour, and that was a great debate, by the way, so I'm not being critical of that because it needs to happen for people to see what kind of goes. It was a total digression for 1 hour, just debating, just trying to convince them that Pratyaksha, Anumana, Upamana, Shabda Pramanani is the explanation, prediction, testing, triangle, and so on. So it sucks away a lot of energy. I mean, that is another issue. Sorry, here,
yeah. So going back to the first presentation, आपने कहा कि सूर्य सिद्धांत was 12,000 BCE, and the next was about whole Rigvedic time तक. So एक problem होती है to accept all these things because there is a written, you have proved it based on the things, but I'm not able to find anything on ground like physical evidence. So, like how to come up of that kind of like fear to accept it.
Correct. So archaeology evidence, for example. Okay. Now, so just let me do this other way. For example, which archaeology evidence that you are aware of and that convince you about something? Tell me.
Like we have Harappan civilization.
Very good. Okay. So lots of Harappan civilization. And what does that tell us archaeologically?
But there was a very developed civilization was there at that time.
Correct.
But even though we see
But that's all it tells us. It doesn't tell us about the Veda. It doesn't tell us
Yes,
about anything else, the people, nothing, right? Nothing. It may tell about the crops and, you know, stuff like that. Yeah.
so and even though like based on what we have seen बीच में एक आई थी कि नहीं we were like it's a continuous process which is coming on, and then again like few days back we had one DNA research which say that no, it's totally different. So they, when it comes out archaeological or physical evidence, the things are so for us, for a new generation which is like जिसने 80 के बाद की पढ़ाई की है, रमीला थापर की बुक्स पढ़ी है, हम लोगों के लिए it's become very difficult to go to accept Surya Siddhant 12,000 years back. And then
What does that tell you? Ramila Thapar did a great job in brainwashing your folks, right?
I was about to say one thing, and I'll just take 15 seconds. You know, the whole message which Nilesh presented perhaps in 3 parts, and there is a lot of takeaway. But if there was one takeaway out of the entire set is that it opens the door for us to a scenario which was unseen. And hopefully some people will go and explore that unseen. Somebody will dig beyond the layer which is representing 24th thousand.
Let me stop you. That will happen, and that is fine. But you know what? Not just because of Romila Thapar, even the researchers, pro-Indic researchers, we need to, everyone understands bootstrapping. What the bootstrapping is, without any external support, pulling yourself out of the mud and, you know, like, you know, pulling by the literally the straps of the boot kind of thing. We each individually, you know, Uddarayan Atmana Manam, you know, you are your best enemy and thing. We each individually has to deprogram ourselves to come out of the over-reliance, blind reliance, the dogma of archaeology. Even the archaeology in a very narrow-minded sense. Even this is archaeology. Archaeoastronomy is archaeology. There is archaeo-paleobotany, I mean, you know, agriculture, everything. So archaeology has a value, but you know what? We are limited by the budget. I mean, so now suddenly, like, you know, we cannot, again, just like that Sanskrit, we cannot use that as an excuse, right? Whatever we have at our disposal, we should use it. Frankly, say take astronomy, archaeology will never give you the accuracy of the dates that astronomy can bring. Now here we have to depend on the evidence itself.
Just to answer your question, like your generation said, you easily believe Romila Thapar, kind of Romila Thapars. Why doesn't one take an effort to read the Mahabharata, find the 300 astronomical observations which have been tested to satisfy yourself?
no,
Isn't that evidence itself by itself which will satisfy you yourself? You means one.
yeah. So that's proved there, like you had proved it. और एक मन है कि is ready to accept it, but somewhere like if I want to connect it, this book, and on the ground something physical evidence वो थोड़ा सा
Correct. But what she is telling you, just like if you say you find something on the ground, you are going to be happy. Okay, so just change of mindset. Nothing wrong. But now look at the sky. Like look at the sky from the ground, and you know, do it yourself. Because what happens? You trusting Romila Thapar, not you personally, or somebody else. But correct. No. But or Nilesh Oak. The point is, I do not want anyone sitting here to take what I am saying blindly. None. And it is possible for everyone to do it.